Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Construction and Traffic Impacts webinar. I'm Wendy Thompson from the Streetcar team, and my main mission is to make sure you know exactly what's happening outside your front door or storefront. As we've mentioned before, 2026 will have a lot of construction, and we know that can feel a bit overwhelming. Whether you live, work, commute, or own a business along the corridor, this project touches your daily life, so thank you for taking the time to stay informed. Our team is committed to more than just laying tracks and building infrastructure. We're committed to being good neighbors. That means minimizing disruptions where we can. Most importantly, keeping you informed so you can plan your day with zero surprises. Before we dive into all the work happening, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen at any time. Don't feel like you have to wait till the end. To help us navigate the complexities of all the construction, I'm joined by our experts overseeing every angle of this project. We have Mike True, Omaha Public Works Department and the Streetcar Project Manager, Steve Rue, Omaha Public Works Department, Capital Construction and Street Maintenance Engineer, and Alyssa Smith, Omaha Public Works Department, Media Relations Manager. Now I'd like to turn it over to Mike True.
Thank you, Wendy. Today's agenda is before you. We're going to cover some safety reminders, and then we'll go through the various projects, get back to communications and Q&A. Just a reminder, there is a lot of construction out there. This is not normal traffic patterns for those of you who've lived, worked in and around this area for a while. We're also coming up. We just had Berkshire. That was successful. We've also got CWS coming up. We're going to have a lot of people who are in town who may not be used to this. So that, including things like being patient and trying to plan ahead for your own time, checking, we'd recommend really, Apple and Waze have been very good about picking up the data that we're trying to push out. Google seems to lag a little bit, but try to plan your routes, follow the detour signs, definitely stay out of work zones, and just try to give each other a little bit more patience and grace as we work through this. As you can see, we're in, and as Wendy stated, we're in the heaviest construction timeline right now. We are, right about halfway, a little front of it. That does mean that we're wrapping up, as you saw on more the west end of our project, where Farnham and Turner are. We've got a lane going through right now. We are going to start to see some of this relax as we progress more and more through the year, but we are in the heat of it through basically this summer and into the fall. So we're just going to be open and blunt with you about that. And now we'll get into the actual construction projects and turn it over to Steve Roof.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. So, yeah, we are still in active construction on 3 of our utility projects. Well, the bridge project, 2 utility projects that are preceding the main line. So we'll go through those. First one, the I-480 bridge project. So we set the girders at the beginning of last month. So that is a huge step in getting this bridge to completion. So our next really big milestone that we're going to be looking forward to is the deck pour, which we are anticipating at the beginning of June, which really just does a lot to really keep this project moving along and reopen this critical access point here into Midtown. So the schedule has been really aggressive on this project, and we are maintaining to it. So it's really great to see. So like I said, the girders have been set. We have opened 28th. So 28th has been closed for a while, going to the north up to Dodge. That is open again. So if you are getting off, let's say you're getting off on 480 there at the Harney exit, you can make it north all the way to Dodge now. Through there, it is one lane. You can also come down Farnham and turn right there to get to the north, unless you are a large truck. And there are many signs there, but take them very seriously. It is an extremely tight turn, and there is not an opportunity to hop the curb or swing it wide or anything like that. There are Jersey barriers on one side. There is a large drop off on the other side. So you will not make it. You do need to turn prior to 28th Street. Don't wait till you get down there. I would suggest you just take 24th to the north if that's what you need to do if you're coming down Farnham, but just believe those signs. I know there's a lot of signs through there, but I just want to reiterate that you will get stuck. You'll have to back up at least a block and back up everybody behind you. So please don't pull down there if you're a large truck. Everybody else, you can make it. If you're in a passenger vehicle, you'll have no issue getting through there. That's what it's designed for. So that is a huge step here in getting this project, to continue to open up the access. We're showing the access map here on the left. So you can now come down Farnham up to Dodge. You can come back down. We're going to talk about it in the Turner project, but that intersection at Farnham and Turner is back open. So you can get back into Midtown that way. That's allowed us to return all of Farnham back to westbound traffic. And like I said, we'll talk about that in Turner, but you can see we're starting to finish up parts of these projects and reopen access through this corridor. So other things coming up for this project. We do have some overnight lane closures for decking coming up. That is not a full closure of 480. So if you see those signs, the upcoming closures for the decking are not a full closure. There will just be lane restrictions as the crews work across the bridge, setting that decking that will be used for the deck pour. We are still working on the electrical systems. There's a very large water main that's going through this bridge. We're still working on finishing that work out. And like I said, we're just progressing towards that deck pour. So all in all, this project's going really well. Making great time on it. So really good to see. Really good to see. On our next project, the Utilities East. So this is the largest utility package that we had out of all the packages that we have going. I know I said this last month, but if you look where we started, way down in the Capital Loop District, we really are pushing out west. We had this project is scheduled to really complete the vast majority of construction by the end of this year, and we are approaching that halfway point as we approach the halfway of the year. So that work tracks. So as we're coming through here, you're going to continue to see a lot of traffic shifting. I know Mike mentioned that at the beginning. A lot of traffic shifting, a lot of lane closures, a lot of signage. And that's just due to the nature of the work as we are doing sanitary work as we come through the block that may be on, the north or south side. And then we're doing water main work on the opposite side of that block. And then we're trying to go back and pick up all those water services. So I have seen a lot of questions where people are like, I don't understand why it changes so much. It's just the nature of the work as we try to complete the mains, the largest transmission parts of the service that's there. And then we go back and connect all of the people that take that service. So just pay attention to signs. We do have some closures right now. So 18th Street is closed at Harney. That'll be through late May. We do have an upcoming closure at 17th Street. That'll be closing mid-May. 17th and Farnham entirely will be closed in mid-May into June. So you'll see lots of signage about that as we get closer to an exact date on that. And then there are many restrictions just through this corridor. So just be alert as you go. I do think it's important to see, just a couple months ago, like this electrical work, we were up to 24th Street. Now the electrical work's all the way out to the bridge, which is kind of the match point for all these projects. They all come together in the middle. So you can really see month to month, if you go back, and we're so inclined to watch all these webinars back to back, you can see that we are progressing west, month after month after month. So pushing towards our completion dates and alleviating a lot of the traffic restrictions. Turner Boulevard package. So this was the very, very, very deep sewer manhole that was right there in the middle of Turner and Farnham. That's why that intersection was closed. So we've completed that very substantial, highly technical portion of the work. So that's great. We've got that sewer manhole built back up. We have our new access point there. I think we referenced this at one time. It was like 3 giraffes tall or 4 giraffes deep or something like that. But it was, 35 feet deep. It was a very deep structure to build. So it's great. We got that done. We had the intersection back open on the timeline that was projected at the beginning of the project, which is great. And so now we have reestablished westbound traffic on Farnham. So for a while there, when everything was fully closed at Farnham and Turner, we were allowing eastbound traffic basically from 33rd back in to access those businesses. Now that Farnham is open the entirety from the bridge, everything is westbound. So if you've been used to going down there, you need to access it all. It's all one lane, all westbound through there. So just kind of keep that in mind if you haven't been down there in about a week or so since we opened that back up. There's no more, don't take that right on 33rd and go head on into traffic. You're gonna have to loop around and go through. If you are trying to access these businesses down here, I would just like to reiterate, I know there's a lot of traffic restrictions and parking restrictions, but there are the 2 parking garages right there on 33rd and Farnham on the north and south side that have 2-hour free or discounted parking to access these businesses here. So, feel free to, you can still get down there. You can park. A lot of those businesses are basically attached to the parking garage. So pretty easy access right there. Just alleviate yourself from trying to find a spot on the street. And then this project will continue to pick up some sanitary and water main work, both along Harney and Farnham. And this progresses into the fall. This project's honestly going really well. And the completion of that really big sewer structure was huge. So great to see that get done on time. And then I will give it back to Mike, and he's going to talk about mainline track.
Thanks, Steve. So as you also know, we've within the last few weeks here started actually casting rail into place, particularly around the east end over there at the loop. That's the purple area on your screen. First bit was up near 10th and Capitol. We've also started to do some along 8th Street as it comes towards Farnham. And then here within the next week, we'll be going along between 8th and 10th on Farnham. Crews are at that end. We've also got some work going here, just a little west of 10th Street and then also the orange area. But this is showing the approximate subzones as we continue along through this work. So starting out west, kind of turning into Turner Boulevard, we do now have westbound only going through. There is a parking garage that you can park there on just east of 33rd. 33rd used to be open and we were directing you down Dodge and to that parking garage. You can still pull in, park there, and then go back out and take a light to go east or west on Dodge. But we do have some pedestrian crossings where you see the little walk symbol. Those are bridges that are put across. It'll be there as they go through. And obviously then if you need to, eventually you can either go all the way out, take Dodge, or come back along Hartney Street. And this work is going to be keep going through about this first 7-1 phase will be going through about August of this year. Going towards the 7-2 middle phase as we've got, again, Farnham still is all one-way westbound now. Farnham is westbound, at least one lane everywhere, excluding 8th, 10th Street. Again, we've got a couple of crossings here for where you need to go. You can park in the parking garage and get over the to the other side, walking down the street. Right now, this does cause some impediments at 36th. So if you're going to go that way, you're going to need to either head east or west, depending upon which side you're coming from, and reroute. But this is going to be in place through basically the end of this year. And the kind of towards where our western terminus is going to be, we are in the demolition phase out there right now. That's the first one. So if you go down to the east phase, they're going to be casting in the rail here fairly soon and working their way down. That kind of gives you a rough timeline of what you're going to start seeing here. If you're on this end, if they're doing demolition and it's 5-6 months later before they start doing and casting in rail, you can actually see the progress of each phase, demolition, civil, and all the way down to the paving going on. Anyway, as it says up there, if 38th Street is closed, 40th and 36th are open. And if 40th or 36th are closed, we got to leave 38th. So we will be going, we'll have those alternating streets. That's going to be really the only changes out here. Again, the primary parking structure is the Beggar P more at the center of the screen. That's got several hundred. There is a small lot near 40th that is also available for public parking. But the one with the most spots is going to be down there between 38th and 37th on the south side of Farnham. Capitol Loop, as we'd mentioned, along 10th Street, just north of Dodge up to Capitol, we got the first few sticks of rail. That's where they were cast. We're going to be getting additional rail into there, and we will have a right turn available going across over to 9th Street and down, and we may be reordering and resequencing some things so it actually can turn out sooner. For right now, this Capitol Loop area, if you need to get in, go down Douglas and you can turn up. And if you need to leave, you can either go back out on Douglas. For right now, we've worked with the state because that is technically a state highway to either turn on to 10th, or if you're down there for events, we have noted that the traffic, it's a lot smoother to go out Riverfront Drive up to Abbott. And especially if you're in and around the CHI Center, you're just going to meet all the other traffic, and it helps to alleviate that. And then as this also notes, it's closed south of Douglas there, and we've already cast some rail in there as well. Moving on to that particular spot, we do have also of note. I believe I mentioned it previously, but just wherever you see the little walking symbol that you would normally see as you go across the street, that's where we have pedestrian, bridges put in. There will be, as they're doing some work, there was this week, I believe there's some tomorrow as well. There's going to be a few hours with flaggers as you go down Farnham. So again, do be careful, do be cautious as you enter in and around these construction zones. There will be equipment moving around, and you may have some brief intermittent interruptions in normal traffic flow, but you can get down Farnham, you can get to 8th, you can get into the parking garage. Then to leave, you're going to have to go out Harney. This is the rail stockpile is shown there if you want to go down and see the 320 feet welded up. For right now, we've got crossings at either end. As work wraps up in and around 11th Street, the intent is to get another mid-block crossing over to the park at some point, but they're going through, and this is now in phase 1 demolition, and this will also be going through towards the end of this year, maybe a little bit early in November. We're going to be starting now on the Harney Street area from 10th to 13th is their first phase in zone 11. This will make 12th Street and 11th terminate at those locations because they will be going across it. So 10th and 14th are going to be kind of your end caps for now. And there's no rail pile on this side, and they're just getting into this is calling it pre-demolition, pre-construction. They're gonna have machines out there and surveyors going out and confirming utility locations and just making sure that all the plans and everything else line up accordingly. And this will be going through until early next year. Our streetcar maintenance facility, we've been previously referencing it as the vehicle maintenance facility. We're getting a little more specific with the name streetcar. Left side, you can see closest to us where it's boarded up. That's going to be the human entrance. That'll be the entranceway. They're going to have some artwork and other things going in there. And then you can see there's 3 vertical panels with aluminum cladding coming out. Those are the actual bays that they will have the streetcars coming in for maintenance and wash. On the right side, you can see, pardon me, the service bay that actually has a dugout section. So the car will pull in over it, and workers actually then are able to get underneath the car and access the trucks where the drive system is and everything else. You're seeing this, the left side is on the outside, and then the in is the opposite corner you're looking at is the entranceway over there. We have a construction dashboard that we keep up to date. This is just a screenshot of it, not a live one. Gas lines are complete. We're in major utility reconstruction. Most of this is, we're heading towards the home stretch on that. And as you can see, we're getting mainline construction going in quite a few different spots. If you have questions, please go to our website, and we have this dashboard to kind of help zero in on where your area is, and it'll be covered later on, but we also have text communication to give you more specific direct upcoming notices. And with that, we'll turn it over to communications. Alyssa.
Thank you. So we understand that this is a lot of information and a really big project. So we have a couple different ways for the public to stay involved with us. On the first Wednesday of the month, like this at noon, we have a webinar. You can pre-register so that we can get that link over to you. Our next one will be June 3rd. These also go online afterwards. So if you're not able to join us live while they're happening, you can watch them afterwards. We also have our monthly board meetings. Next, we do have a website and text messages that Mike was referring to. Our website, if you go to that construction updates along the top nav and drop down, we have a landing page for each different neighborhood along the corridor so you can get specific information for your area. We also have those text messages. If you'd like to sign up, you can choose which neighborhoods you are most interested in so that we can send those alerts directly to your phone. Other ways to get in touch, myself and Wendy are the primary communicators for this project. So if you ever have any sort of questions, just feel free to send us an email or give us a call, and we will be able to answer any sort of questions you have about the project. And finally, the city has officially launched our This Way campaign, which was developed in collaboration with corridor businesses. It's designed to invite, guide, and welcome people to the greater downtown neighborhoods and business districts. This way, campaign will utilize wayfinding signage, digital messaging, and social media to help people navigate the corridor, to help people find parking, and just to continue to support those businesses during construction. For business owners, we've developed a social media toolkit to make it easy to create this way branded content and join the campaign. If you have any questions or would like to utilize this, we do have a link here on this page. You can also send me an email or call, text, any way you want to get in touch with me, and I will be able to set up a time to walk you through getting access to this and kind of your first few posts as well. Awesome, and we'll pass it back to Wendy for some questions.
Thank you. Steve, do you want to talk about someone asked about water pressure, and they also asked, has the increase in residential buildings downtown created an increase of utility demand? Was that factored into the way the utilities were designed?
As far as, I mean, honestly, as far as that entire system goes, that's all controlled through MUD. The water pressure that's delivered through the water mains. I know, I don't, I mean, hesitant to speak for MUD, but I am quite confident that they track, what their service, like how much service they're providing on any particular main and the transmissions related around it. And they have an entire water distribution team that makes sure that as population density increases, that they are offsetting that with the appropriate level of service. And that's why they go through and upgrade facilities or make other adjustments on their end. As far as somebody's specific water pressure or exactly what kind of calculations are involved in that, those would all be questions I would have to defer to MUD.
Thank you. And I've actually already responded to this person and gave them that information.
Okay.
Is there anything that will be targeted for completion ahead of CWS, or can you, Mike and Steve, talk about what we're doing to prepare for CWS?
So for CWS, we've talked to the crews about just trying to make sure that if there's anything we can do, making sure that we primarily don't impede on pedestrian access. We are trying to make sure that we get a few more crosswalks in there. And everything east of 16th, we're working with Kiewit to kind of, lack of a better term, slow the roll, kind of minimize what they'll be doing, particularly during the day. Just trying not to have as many crews down in there without impacting schedule. Keep the streets as reasonably clean, clear as we can do. We're not going to obviously be able to just patch everything back and then come back later. So we're trying to make sure that pedestrian access is there. We're also having a twice-day walk with some help from our consultants to go around and say, what could we do better on some pedestrian access? Is there are the signs especially with utilities, as things swap around? Do we need additional signage somewhere else? And see how things go.
Yeah, I would add to that, since really last month and as we move into CWS, that as all the traffic control and everything gets, our contractors go through and submit traffic control plans quite regularly, obviously, but for every single change that is made to the traffic pattern, every time they move into a new area, basically anytime that you're seeing those barricades move around, there is a level of approval that comes from both the construction team, the city traffic team, and then a coordination across these 4 projects that are all operating at the same time to make sure that works. And access during CWS is part of that consideration. So discussing, whether or not we would allow certain restrictions on like 10th Street or other access points to major venues. And like Mike said, a lot of concern about pedestrian traffic and making sure that we have sidewalks that are open or appropriate detours to get people in and out of those places. So it is something that obviously it's a huge event that every single year, I'd say, even regardless of these projects, every single year is a huge talking point about making sure people can access. Our traffic department works along with that event staff and then all of our projects to try to make sure that we are providing the best service possible there. What is possible while maintaining progress and schedule to get us through this project.
Thank you. Can you go over the document sent out to businesses along the corridor for utility relocation and why it's the property owner's responsibility?
I'm not. Is there any better clarification on the document that was set out? There's a lot of stuff that gets sent out. Utility location, property owner's responsibility. I don't know the specific document, but so take the sewers the city has, the sewer main that goes down there, the lateral that connects to it from that lateral back is the property owner's. Same thing with your gas. There's a connection point. Same thing with your water. Same thing with your power. Same thing with the internet that hooks up to your house. There is some point where there's a meter, there's a valve, there's a connection. From that point onward, it is technically your responsibility. What we've done down here is this projects have been going on now since late 24, early 25. The teams are supposed to notify people in and around areas that they're working in that utility locates are needed. I don't know a specific document but
I'm not sure what specific document that would be.
Yeah.
I would guess that this is a specific instance and not a document that was sent widely to a number of people.
I'm guessing this was to a specific property owner.
Yeah. But no different to Mike's point.
Out.
No different than if you were any other owner of a utility that is in the right of way or in an encroachment or in some other place that we're supposed to work. State law requires that if someone calls in an 811 ticket for locates, that they are located. And so in what I would say is an uncommon event, but it does obviously happen that you need to go out and locate your services. That would be that is how that refers back to. It would refer back to the state statute requiring you to locate it.
Yeah, we've had a few people ask on this because there hasn't been a lot of utility work done in the downtown corridor, and it's come up a few times. And yes, you have a lateral connection, whatever it is that's coming out, and for your business, you got to get that located.
I guess if there's a specific issue, Wendy, maybe that's something we can just handle with this person individually.
Yeah, if you can find out whoever asked that and get some connection or get a way for us to connect with them, that'd be good.
Yes, I can follow up with the person's sign up email.
Okay.
Alyssa, you've done a lot of this, so will there be wayfinding signage for pedestrians coming out of parking garages?
Yes, in some cases there already is, specifically Midtown garages. We do have some wayfinding for drivers and pedestrians who are leaving into the construction zones, and we are working on adding additional this way wayfinding signage in additional locations on the sidewalks and in the garages.
Thank you for all of the great questions. And it sounds like we'll have some follow-up with one of our questions. Thank you.
I just want to thank everyone who's been tuning in, just everyone who lives down in this area, who's been working with us. We do have people who have communicated out to us, hey, we don't see signage somewhere else. It helps to have some of that back and forth. And this is a rough year, and we thank you all for sticking with us. I hope we can start to see as these projects are progressing, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Steve said we are clearly working through, and you can see progress getting made. So thank you for all your patience, and we're going to try to get through this as effectively and efficaciously as we can.